Thank you very much, everyone, for, well, first, for being here and being able and willing to listen to us, the information we have here to share with you. And also, we would also like to thank Recrea for allowing this space so this sort of interactions could be carried out. As he mentioned, our topic is English language instruction at Escuelas Normales in Jalisco and its impact on basic education. There's something I would like to specify here. We won't talk about all 11 public Escuelas Normales in Jalisco. We will mainly focus on Escuela Normal para Educadoras de Arandas, which is the school where we both work at as English teachers. Yeah, just we didn't want to include that long name. If it's long, imagine having all that phrase in there. Yeah. So yeah, as he mentioned, my name is Lara, my co-worker Yolanda Fajardo, and let's get it. Well, first I would like to start presenting the overview of this presentation, and basically our intention is to communicate the impact English has had, English teaching as English as a foreign language instruction, has had on our pre-service teachers at Escuela Normal para Educadoras de Arandas, considering or focusing on three key dimensions: the personal, academic, and student teaching dimension, which is the moments in which our pre-service teachers go to basic education schools, preschools and elementary schools to teach or to carry out certain teaching processes that the school asks them to. Also, we will be discussing the way in which English has been intentioned to be implemented at public schools at these two levels, preschool and elementary schools. Yeah. A little bit of the content of this presentation. We will start with a context for you to be able to more or less identify where we come from, what is the background of this presentation. Also the justification of this presentation, a little methodological process that we carried out to gather information to develop this brief study, the findings of this study, the importance of English basic education. We're going to explain and give you examples of the practicum requirements we ask our normalistas to develop during their practicum. Of course, general suggestions, conclusions, and our references. To start off, I would like to tell you how our context is built. Well, this presentation dates back to the year 2018 when in Mexico there was this higher educational national strategy which was intended to empower the instruction of English in all Escuelas Normales in Jalisco, public Escuelas Normales in Jalisco, not private ones. And well, talking about our state, we here in Jalisco, as you know, we have 11 public Escuelas Normales, and this national strategy consisted of the recruitment of 32 well-certified English teachers to implement the strategy. About our specific context, we both teach at Escuela Normal para Educadores de Arandas. We are only, from those 32 teachers which were hired, we both work at this school. And well, after 5 years, we have developed, we have planned, implemented diverse strategies, dynamics, activities, ways of teaching to improve English for our normalistas. And well, after this all work, we are able now to analyze or evaluate the impact our teaching has had on our students. And that's mostly what this presentation will be about.
The Article 3 in our Mexican Constitution states that education shall show high quality. How are we going to get it? So it is based on the constant improvement and maximum academic achievement of our students. So for these matters, in these terms, the mastery of English is important to prepare more competent professionals in a globalized world. If it is important for university students to master English, it becomes even more relevant for our normalistas who are future teachers and are going to impact the lives of the little ones who are going to be future professionals. We all know someone who loves math, history, science, even Spanish because of a teacher. So why not having these teachers promoting the need of becoming bilingual. So by the time they grow up, they don't suffer from learning English as many of us have suffered when we learn older. It is also important to master English, to be at the forefront in educational research. We know in the field of research, English is a key element. And also, Jalisco, particularly the Altos region, the Alto Sur region, is characterized by a significant number of migrants, which results in, when these families come back to the state, they attend our schools, and sometimes the children are invisibilized. We're going to talk about a little bit later on.
Great. Before I jump into the methodological process that was carried out in this study, I would like to expand a little bit more in the context. I didn't mention our institution, our Escuela Normal para Educadores de Arandas, has two BA programs. One that is for preschool education and elementary school education. So it is a big challenge for us to promote English at these two educational levels in public schools. Well, to talk about the methodological process that we followed, we opted for carrying out a qualitative study with an interpretive approach. We wanted to interpret ideas of participants. The sample selection was out of our population of 200, around 200 students in our school. It's a quite small school. We opted for grabbing just 12 ENEA students as a sample with diverse traits. We intended this for us to be able to get a more varied perspective towards the impact English has had on our pre-service teachers' lives. Yeah, 4 students or 4 participants were at a basic level of English. 4 other participants were in a certification process that we every semester have at our institution, and 4 other participants were already certified. As you can see, we have a diversity of traits there, so we can have a more varied information or data. The instrument we implemented to gather data was a semi-structured interview, which was divided it was formed by 10 different questions divided in 3 dimensions: the personal dimension, academic, and student teaching dimension. Of course, the information collected was voice recorded, and before the actual interviews took place, we had our participants sign a consent form for them to be willing to express their ideas. The way in which we organized or systematized the information was with a matrix of systematization. We thought it was better to have like a sort of like a chart with the different dimensions, the questions, answers, for us to be able to understand all this data we were collecting. In order for us to build the reality of the information or identify the main aspects of this information, we looked at recurrences or the most relevant phrases or ideas students were giving us, and we divided them into 3 different subcategories. Each subcategory was accompanied with its descriptor for us to be able to understand the subcategory better. And well, the findings fall into these 3 dimensions: the personal, academic, and student teaching, which I already mentioned, and will now be explained as we go on through the slides. First, the personal dimension. We found, or participants expressed, that their experience learning English is divided into 2 different types of experiences, let's say. Yeah, favorable and unfavorable experiences. Talking about the favorable experiences, students express that now that they're learning English or they're being exposed to English at our institution, they feel a more meaningful, they feel they have been having more meaningful experiences with learning English, and this has provoked higher levels of interest, motivation to learn the target language. And they have also mentioned that it is very easy and very beneficial for them to be able to recognize or identify their progress in learning English. Of course, we also encountered in the answers some ideas about negative or unfavorable experiences towards learning English, which mostly refer back to when they were in secundaria or prepa, which is, well, middle school or high school. These experiences were characterized by having tedious, boring, not significant, or dynamic classes, mostly at those levels that I already mentioned. And this provoked, of course, demotivation or frustrations towards learning English. Also, from the personal dimension, participants express that English has had a relevant impact on these three sections, let's say. Yeah, the applicability of English on their everyday life, movies, television, music, etc. And they have also expressed that they feel a sense of empowerment, and this provokes, of course, higher levels of self-confidence now that they know or that they are starting to improve their English proficiency. And of course, a shift in perspective. They see a world, a more global world, full of choices, opportunities in terms of every environment as possible. Then about the academic dimension, there are four main aspects which participants expressed were benefited or are being benefited by the fact that they know English or that their English proficiency is improving. Yeah? One that talks about the means for academic success. Participants mention or they express that English helps them be able to go for postgraduate degrees like a master's degree or a PhD without the fear or this limitation of the language. You know, in these levels, we normally have to consult English texts to develop certain activities. So this is not a barrier for them anymore. And motivation to learn new things. They express that by learning English, they are aware that they are able to learn new things in a different way. And this encourages them to learn new things. Yeah, not only English, but things about other disciplines or information. Learning English has also improved their metacognitive skills, which is the ability one has to be aware and at a certain point control the way we learn. Yeah, we are aware of what benefits me to learn a certain thing. Surprisingly, students express that English, the learning of English has empowered this aspect. And of course, English has allowed them to access more relevant information, updated information, which they can consult for any sort of academic activity. Moving on, English teaching learning processes at ENEA. Well, here, these are some of the information we have or we collected from the interview in terms of the impact our teaching, my colleagues and my teaching has had in our students. Yeah, they feel classes are more meaningful now, dynamic. The use of technologies is evident. We tend to promote the 4 macro skills of the language: listening, writing, reading, and speaking. They feel a sense of follow-up, a more personalized follow-up from our part, sorry. And the evaluation we carried out at the institution is a formative sort of evaluation, and this is something they appreciate because they see progress in their learning. Of course, they also express that certain extracurricular activities that we have at our institution have benefited them. For instance, we have an English workshop, which is not part of their curriculum, but it's something additional we offer them to promote communication. And also, we offer them a brief or a general teaching workshop, like let's say English teaching for little kids, even though that's not the main goal of their BA. As I mentioned, it's preschool, pre-service teachers and elementary school teachers.
So by now it has been mentioned how learning English or having a mastery of English has impacted their lives in terms of personal achievement, academic achievement, but now we're going to explore if it actually has an impact on their practicum, on their student teaching dimension. The main areas in which students' English proficiency has helped them when they go on their practicum every semester has been mainly in 3 different aspects. Unfortunately, there's zero or limited applicability of English in the classroom. Although we know the National Curriculum Aprendizajes Clave in 2017 does mention in the exit profile of preschool and elementary school that students should have like little knowledge of English. And also in the national curriculum of 2022, also it is mentioned in the field of language that art and English should be included. Although it happens, in most schools, they don't have the conditions to teach English or to, to have students learning English. It has helped our students who are certified in English or who know English. It has helped them as an innovation key because they arrive to the classroom. In a minute, we're going to show the different kind of activities we carry out. And they do these kind of activities and the students feel very motivated and they go like, oh, teacher, if we behave, could we please sing again, freeze? Or could we please go to the active pause in the patio, in the yard? And can we do this? Can we do that? So it is just more as an innovation rather than just for the impact of learning. Also, it has helped them as a classroom management strategy. We're also going to discuss it in a while. So it helps them in terms of having better discipline in the classroom or creating a morning routine. It has helped them in terms of innovation, but there is zero or limited applicability. In general terms, the implementation of English in preschool and at the elementary school level has not taken place. Once again, it is only as an innovation matter, as inclusion to serve migrant children, because nowadays, we have to be, and we have to promote and foster inclusive classrooms. So for those children, for those returning children to feel and come back and feel welcomed, feel part of the class. And well, it is a normal school requirement because the English teachers ask them to do so. So that's why they have to do it. They say sometimes they don't find it organic. Teacher, it's not that organic. It's like students feel motivated and students feel happy, but it's not like the teacher is very happy with me applying something in English. That's a reality we have faced. Having said so, why is English important in the curriculum of Normales? Well, because of the inclusion we already talked about, because of the teaching didactics. We know teaching English as a second language is totally different from teaching any other subject. So if our students are there, and as Ivan mentioned, we offer a teacher's training course, well, we have to train our students how to teach English, although it's not our main focus. Because of the transversalization, we're also going to show examples of some projects we have carried out in elementary schools. It is important in the curriculum of Normales that our normalistas know English because it is important learning English from an early age. And this passion or this need of learning English or becoming bilingual is contagious. So if our graduate students are aware of that, they're going to, it's going to be contagious for the little ones to do something related to English. And well, the reality, the fact that nowadays there's poor current implementation of English in basic education.
Great. Do we have any, I have this question right now. Do we have any preescolar teachers here or primaria teachers here? Yeah? Great, great. So yeah, we're here to promote English within those levels. Yeah. And well, moving on to the importance English has in these two basic education levels, we have some quotes that preschool pre-service teachers expressed regarding the importance English has on little kids of preschool. They go around the fact that the students are at a specific age in which they're still their cognitive skills are still being developed. English could be acquired in a better way. Of course, they also point out that there's a cognitive development, or that's what they think. There's a cognitive development when being exposed to a second language. So these are some of the quotes we have here. As you can read them, I'm just summarizing some points of them. They also go around, these quotes go around the fact that English could benefit little ones for their future lives and make them see the world in a different way, not just looking at the world being just arandas or their family there, but being aware that there's more outside. Yeah. And go ahead.
So we also have the quotes from the elementary school pre-service teachers, and basically what they mention is like, if English has an impact in everyday's communication, in video games, when we travel, at work, why is it relegated from education? It shouldn't be. It also says that it is important that the teacher has a minimum mastery of English so that students, the returning students, the migrant children, can feel part of the classroom. They also mentioned, and I love this one, nowadays, now that I go to my practicum and I realized what is actually happening in the schools, it is more important for me to learn English, to study English. So when I am that teacher, I do include English. And it says, I love this one as well, I wish I had the opportunity to learn English when I was little. And as I always tell our students, we know you're not English teachers. We know you're not going to be English teachers, but at least, like this little motivation for them to know some stereotypes that we have. I don't know if you have heard the same, but I have heard many times like, English is not important. I have even heard English is for rich people. I'm not going to travel to the States. I'm not interested in learning English. Why should I learn English? Don't speak English. We're in Mexico. So all these stereotypes we have, I think, and in an ideal scenario, we want to get rid of them. And I think it's like baby steps through our normalistas that we can get that. We're not saying that our current teachers in elementary and preschool schools do not want to learn to teach English. Maybe they don't know English. How can they teach something they don't know? And yeah, well, those were in terms of quotes.
Great. Now we're going to talk about some specific requirements we ask students to carry out once they go to their practicum. And we divided them in 3 different levels, going from basic to more complex. For first and second semester pre-service teachers at our institution, we ask them to mainly observe the environment, the school, and the classroom context, just for them to be able to identify whether there's any exposure or promotion of English within basic education institutions. Second, we have third and fourth semester pre-service teachers, and the strategies or activities we ask them to implement go around these different, these diverse activities: attention getters, icebreakers, silent signals, or even songs. Yeah. And of course, a more complex requirement for fifth and sixth semester students, we normally ask them to intend or implement an activity which is mainly focused on improving or teaching vocabulary, basic grammar structures, or even participate in articulated projects. Now that we have this for the Nueva Escuela Mexicana, the thing around projects, we are starting to include this in the requirements for fifth and sixth semester students. Okay.
So in first and second semester, if you work at Normales, you may know that in first and second semester, they go to observe the area, the environment, the class, the school. So in these particular semesters, we ask them to observe if there's any influence of English in the context. What we have found so far is like, they say, oh, there's a car wash named in English, or there's this grocery store whose name is in English, but it's not like there's a real influence in the context. Although many people in Arandas and in the region have family who come and go to the States frequently. Also, they are, if allowed, students can interview the principal or the teacher. The main findings that apply to both levels, preschool and elementary school, is that there's limited or no English influence in the schools. Teachers with limited mastery of English, if so. No English teachers, because the parents have to pay for them, so there are no English teachers, no English spaces, and no English materials. There's lack of formal English language instruction in the school, and again, the invisibilization of returning children. And once again, I'm not saying the current teachers don't want to do it. Maybe they don't have the means to do it and to carry out this. Some particularities we have also found is like there's this school, there's a computer lab, it's used as an English classroom. There's an English teacher, but for 18 groups. So, well, at least it's something. You cannot see very clearly the picture in the walls. There are pictures or words with English decoration. Also, in some other schools, they have seen that there's influence of English inside the classroom. And those teachers who have hanged all this is because they are teachers who either like English or speak English. So it does have an influence if the teacher is prepared. In terms of preschool, well, same story. There's no English language instruction in preschool. And luckily, there was this music teacher who plays songs in English, and students love it. Students really enjoy that music class, although they might not know what they're singing, but they like it.
Great. About third and fourth semester requirements, we ask our students to develop these type of activities, which, well, they carry out attention getters. Here you have some examples of some attention getters. We have asked them, or they have even discovered themselves. Yeah, it's not like we give them all the information they have to implement. We also let our students explore for strategies or ideas to implement English during their practicum. Yeah, and of course, these attention getters or silent signals are meant for improving classroom management. Yeah, for instance, we have this example here. The teacher would say waterfall, and students would say shh. Yeah, or flat tire, and students would go shh. So it's a way for them. I mean, the teacher is including English at a very basic level, but at least students are being exposed to something new, and they seem to like it a lot. Also, some icebreaker activities. Here we have some examples, and I would like to show you a video. If you could help me, could you please exit the presentation mode so we can watch the video? It's yeah, it's a song that we would like to show you, and I hope we can watch it right now. And well, you will see students dancing, moving, singing, or if we have a problem, we can play it like that. Yeah, we can just play it. Oh, the sound is not.
I'm wonderful, I'm good, I'm great, I'm wonderful. Hello, 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 how are you? Hello, 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 how are you? I'm tired.
Thank you so much. Here in this, you could obviously see a hello song, yeah, to introduce students into English as an icebreaker strategy. And of course, some songs as well. This teacher here was having students dance and sing the head, shoulders, knees, and toes, you know, classic songs. And of course, we have more examples over here. On this picture here, we have an active pause that this teacher was carrying out, this pre-service teacher was carrying out, which was a freeze song. Students would start singing, dancing, moving, and all of a sudden the song would say freeze. And the teacher implemented this activity to catch students' attention after the dynamic. And here we have another video, a short video about the head, shoulders, knees, and toes. These pre-service teachers in an elementary school carried out this activity at the yard, well, the patio of the school. Well, let's just watch it. Well, as you could see, students were having fun. This is just an idea for them to start including English in a non-forced way, but more like a natural way, let's say. Yeah, an immersion. About the fifth and sixth semester requirements, we ask our pre-service teachers to implement. They go from vocabulary sets, let's say colors, animals, the verb, well, the grammar, the verb to be, family members, So basically, here we ask our students to teach or carry out an activity intended to teach certain things like related to vocabulary or grammar. About the articulated projects, which I already mentioned, we have had students participate or collaborate with elementary school teachers in a social emotional project. You can see here the emotion monsters. You have the different emotions: happy, angry, sad, so on and so forth. And also, we have had pre-service teachers participate in values projects, yeah? Saying thank you, please, sorry, you're welcome, etc. A more specific, this is another example of a requirement we ask our students at 5th and 6th semester. English chants. As we all know, English chants is a very powerful strategy to practice vocabulary, pronunciation, chunks, basic sentences, fluency, rhythm. And here's an example of this pre-service teacher in a preschool implementing an English chant about means of transportation. Let's watch it.
Rápido. Ok, y dice así. What's this? What's this? It's a train. It's a train. Choo, 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 choo. It's a train. It's a train. Choo, 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 choo. Y luego vamos con el autobús. What's this? What's this? It's a bus. It's a bus. ¿Y cómo decía el bus?
Right. Well, sorry about the sound issues. I mean, sound was a little distortion here, but as you could see, the teacher was teaching the words train, bus, and car through chants. Yeah, which is a very like a drilling activity, repetitive, for vocabulary improvement, of course. Then
So, for example, in these activities, the assignment we gave them was in breaks or in the PE class to try to include something fun for the students to, to get closer to English. Here, it was break time, and they were playing bingo with the numbers. Here, you can see students were in the PE class, and they were running around, and the teacher would go like, jump three, and they in the hula hoops they would go like 1, 2, 3 counting, so something super basic, but they were implementing English. And in here, students loved this activity. They were fishing. The pre-service teacher would say the color, and they would have to go like, oh, blue, oh, what's blue? So they were activating prior knowledge, if so, and if not, the pre-service teacher was there to explain. In here, it's an example of a transversalized project I was mentioning. Here, we transversalized 3 subjects we have at our Escuela Normal, which is a socio-emotional subject, music, and English. So they did different activities. We didn't tell them what to do. It was their idea. And for example, in this team, they decided to create like a superheroes in training box. It promoted the self-esteem because in that picture on the board, it says, in Spanish, it says, I'm powerful, I'm intelligent, I can do this, I can do that. So they mixed, in a bilingual way, they mixed it. And at the end of the project, after 2 weeks, they called the parents, and parents had to come and they gave them a diploma saying, like, I'm a superhero. Students were super happy. They carry out different activities, and our normalistas decorated the wall. It said, like, the welcome wall, although once again, it's not that they're teaching English. It's just something we can do. In the next one, it was an activity related to the emotions. So, for example, over there, that team decided to ask students to draw, to include art, how they feel. Over here, there were like these pretending buttons, and by the time they walk into the classroom or walk out of the classroom, they had to punch on however they felt. Here we can see like the different students doing it. It's in 2 different doors. And here this team decided to create it like an emotions fair. And students have to go through the stalls in break to play around and carry out the activities. Students, the little ones, did enjoy these kind of activities. Now, after saying all these, I know we're normalistas, and I know our scenario, our ideal scenario is different from the reality that you guys, you teachers in basic education are experiencing. So should English be included in basic education? Well, the exit profile in the preschool education, as I mentioned before, says that the students should use the language to understand some words and expressions in English. It doesn't say they have to become fluent, but maybe hi, hello, how are you, goodbye, I'm happy, I'm sad. The exit profile in basic education says, somewhat, I don't know why, that students have to describe aspects in past, but then how do students do it if they don't have exposure to the language? Here, in the new plan, in the field of languages, we know art and English is included. And how can it be included? Well, we know that our national standard curriculum, the synthetic program, doesn't mention English. We know that. In the field, we know languages, English is part of languages, but then in the synthetic program is not included. We know that. But then in the analytic program, that is a tailored curriculum that we have, it can be included, not only because we are in a region that serves migrant people or migrant families, but also what we were mentioning, the need that in Mexico we have bilingual professionals in any area. So in the analytic program, we could adapt it. How? Okay, yes, good. We're going to include English, but how are we going to include it? Well, through English immersion, something easy, something as simple as what we were mentioning before. That's why we wanted to mention some activities and some examples of how to do it. When there's a will, there's a way. So maybe introducing basic words, commands, greetings, occasionally, in a natural way for the language one, the mother tongue, not to be interfered. We know the little ones can say like, oh, is it English or Spanish? Am I getting confused? For them not to get confused, we have to do it in a natural approach and a natural way.
Well, just to conclude with our presentation, we have here some thoughts, some final thoughts. Learning English does not only benefit individuals in the academic field or spectrum, to say, yeah? They are also benefited, or they also feel or sense a positive effect in the personal and professional dimensions. Students from both preschool and elementary schools show significant interests or interests towards being exposed or learning English. This, from what we have collected, or the questions, these conversations we have had with our students after they come from their practicum, they always come with this big smile and tell us, you know what, the small English activity I implemented at my preschool caught students' attention, and now students love me. Yeah, so this is evidence of that. And there is an evident need to keep promoting English at education grades or levels before middle school. I don't know if we have secundaria teachers here, but I used to be a secundaria teacher, and whenever I got students from elementary school, my program asked me to teach grammar points or vocabulary sets that were not up to their level. So why? Because of the lack of exposure they had before in the previous grades or levels. There is a lot to be done in preschools and elementary schools in terms of students' exposure to English. We have already given some ideas on how we can do it. It would be ideal for teachers at preschools and elementary schools to set some time aside for including basic English. We know this is this is ideal, but it's not possible for a lot of preescolar and primaria teachers. But it also could be done through brief but consistent activities such as the ones we showed. Yeah. And last but not least, teachers along with pre-service teachers could continue collaborating to promote English in classes thanks to the flexibility this new national curriculum offers teachers. No? For instance, there is always a chance, like my colleague said, there's always a chance to include English in the slightest way, but the impact is very significant. Yeah, we could have numbers, for example, here, nuestros saberes, mathematics, science. We can include vocabulary, numbers in English, yeah, to transversalize content. Of course, languages, for them to be aware that there's not only English or other dialects, but also different languages around the world. Yeah. And basically, I don't know if you would like to add anything else.
Yes, as you know, there's also this agreement, the Jalisco Tech Act, signed by our Minister of Education and our governor. And there's this Recrea Ingles program. We also have it in our institution. And we're very happy to mention that we have 239 students. That shows that English is important in our region. Children do want to learn, but for some reason, they don't have this opportunity to do it when they're little. And well, let's support also our government and our Minister of Education, like reinforcing English. And if you are normalistas teachers, take advantage of our normalistas. When they go to your schools, open the doors and tell them, you know what to do. You know what to do, help us or give us an idea. But please, we want to say that English is very important nowadays, and thank you very much for staying. I know it is late, I know you're tired, but we really appreciate your staying here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias, le damos muchas gracias a Yolanda y a Iván. Quiero comentarles que ambos, creo que ambos son maestros Recrea también. Sí, ambos son también de nuestros instructores Recrea. Quiero aprovechar para hacer una... Ya yo sé que estamos al último, ya es cansón, hemos estado aquí desde las 11, pero aquellos que quieren más información sobre Recrea Inglés y ser maestros de Recrea, estamos solicitando. Tenemos todavía como 300 vacantes, así que hay mucha oportunidad en la zona metropolitana, en algunas de las regiones también. Agradecemos a Yolanda y a Iván. Les hacemos un pequeño reconocimiento por parte de la Dirección de Lenguas Extranjeras. Yolanda, Iván, y por parte de la Secretaría de Educación y de Recrea Academy también les hacemos un reconocimiento por su labor como docentes y por la presentación como ponente. Muchas gracias.